In the comments of my reaction to this trailer, one of you said it looks a lot like a comic book. And I was like, you're right. But this is where it threw me. It doesn't look like a top of the stack comic to me. It looks more like a middle of the stack comic. Not to say it's not a lot of fun, but not the artistry that you kind of, look forward to on comic book day each week, which is becoming rarer and rarer in the comic book industry. But this looks like a really solid comic book and therefore solid comic book movie. Also, some of you were surprised that I said that the costume looked too comic booky, and we're like, but it's a comic book movie, Grace. Well, what I mean by that is that it looks like a costume, and it does not look like something that somebody in the world of this film would actually wear. It looks like, very much like the studio said, here's your superhero suit. And, Marvel's definitely guilty of that, even more so. That's the case in like almost every movie that they make, and it's getting worse. I saw somebody do a funny comment on Twitter about how the costumes in Thor: Love and Thunder look like Starlight Express, which is like this 80s roller skating musical. I thought that was very funny. But Marvel's silly. Marvel's films are silly, so that's okay. DC has always been a little bit more serious and realistic, and so I have that expectation for their films. I'm not saying this is going to make me not like the movie, but it's just, it's a surprise. It's a surprise. All right, let's break this down. Here we go. I think a lot of you are saying it's trying to hit a lot of the same notes as Black Panther, literally with the music choice, but also stylistically and stuff. And I think a lot of the tech looks very Wakandan. And I don't know, I think that's a tough game to play. I think on the one hand, Black Panther is incredibly popular. The Black Panther 2 comes out, supposedly, they haven't pushed it or anything, a month after this. But you always want to seem as original as possible. But there are some very original elements here for sure. Reminds me a little bit of Moon Knight too, because of the setting. All right, as I said, let's break it down. Here we go. So we start out with this ship. I thought at first that was the Justice Society ship, but it's not. I'm curious. Maybe it's Intergang. You can see it's got like these things that pop up in the top. Like, is that like probes, or does it give drag? But I'm curious as to the technology behind this. All right, so we're in a snowy landscape. And then these are some kinds of, it looks like military forces. That might be Kandak. And there's Black Adam. He's sedated. He's in his, his slave clothes that we see from his origin story. And he's being put in cryosleep. That's what's happening here. And he looks smaller to me there, which I find interesting. But yeah, this is clearly a modern setting. So I'm curious as to what's going on here. But anyway, they're putting him into, you can see like they have that cool little skeleton hologram on the cryo chamber. I don't know why there's water on the floor. That seems to be the fluid that they're pumping in there. They say, and they like the containment fluid, and they're like, he's contained, and we're like, is he? This clearly he's going to break out for this movie, but they've been put into cryosleep, and I suspect that the Justice Society of America is going to break him out, and give him back his super suit. And there's Dr. Fate, sure enough, rocking that ascot. I think that Pierce Brosnan's voice seems a little off, but I have to say, I'm getting pretty excited about his Dr. Fate, even though I think a lot of people are going to be like, isn't that just Doctor Strange? And you're going to be like, get used to it. There are a lot of similarities between Marvel and DC, over the decades in the comics and now in the movies. But Dr. Fate's a really cool character, gotten a lot of fans from the animated series too. And yeah, I don't know, he seems pretty cool to me. I like it. I wonder if he'll pass the mantle to somebody else by the end of this movie. But he's clearly like the Professor X of their Justice Society. So they had some cool, Middle Eastern music come in over the opening, and I preferred that to the Kanye that they play over the rest of it. But he's like, oh, I was a slave. And I like this shot. This is cool. Again, he looks smaller there. And I like the blood. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of blood. That's a lot of blood. And he's clearly being thrown into like a pit of bodies, you imagine, right? Or into what he worked on as a slave, and to be buried with his with what he was forced to do in life. That seems to be his. I think that's maybe his wife. All right. And he said, I died a slave and I awoke a god. And I'm like, well, these are mercenaries. These aren't the same military figures that put them in cryosleep. Did the Kandahar government outsource this to some mercenaries? But anyway, they look like a lot of people that, like, they're bad guys. So, Dwayne Johnson, he says in this movie that Black Adam doesn't have a problem killing. Although I got to tell you, he throws a lot of people into water and stuff, so they're fine. So I guess, you can tell if, like, this character seems okay to kill by PG-13 rules. So these are some bad mercenaries. So we don't, Black Adam can have his way with them. And he said, my son died to save my life. And that's very sad. His son's so young, too. But you can see that there's a little boy in this movie from current days that I'm sure Black Adam will transfer his feelings of fatherhood onto. I also feel like maybe that boy could become the new Dr. Fate. Let's see. All right. So more, he's like, he's, building up the anticipation. I like the detail work on his cape, by the way. I like his cape, his hood a lot. It's tattered, but yet it still seems majestic. I think that's very cool. He looks like he has like superhero sandals on. But yeah, he can levitate. Takes his time because he knows he's going to win. But this is a different setup. This is not the same thing. This is like some other tomb. And you can see, I'm interested as to whose tomb this is. And are all those bodies like trapped souls? Are they the slaves of his era that created this and built this? Their pain immortalized in this artistry? I'm compelled. I think that's a cool shot of his the lightning coming out of his chest. I wish it were yellow like it's supposed to be for him. Well, he can go back and forth. And he seems to also be able to control it with his hands. He can you can see transfer it and his arms kind of light up, which could be very cool in some other shots. So he explodes that open. Someone's like, wait, it belongs in a museum. And he's like, I don't care about that. So here's a different ship. This is the JSA's ship, which looks a lot like T'Challa's ship, even with the way that you get out. Now, first off, though, one of you said, is this Mr. Terrific? And I have to say, it does seem like it could be Mr. Terrific. There's Dr. Fate on the right. There's Noah Centineo as Atom Smasher, which is basically Giant Man on the left. But I believe that's Aldous Hodge's Hawkman. And you can see Hawkman symbols on the ground, kind of. They need better art because I'm like, that just looks like a blob. Oh, yeah, now I see it. It's a hawk. So he's jumping out, but you can see on his jacket, he has like these gold, detail work, and I wouldn't be surprised if his wings spread out of that, and that's how he puts his costume on. I mean, I don't think it's what Hawkman fans want to see, but maybe we can learn to live with it. That's kind of like the phrase a lot that we have to say, especially with DC movies. So he jumps out. And then he's like, look, I changed into my party clothes. That looks pretty cool. I am excited to see Hawkman fight Black Adam. You see a glimpse of that here. So there's Atom Smasher, who lights up with his costume, which I think is good. It distinguishes him a little bit from Giant Man, which he's going to need. So you get a very quick introduction to the JSA. I feel a better introduction to the JSA would have helped this trailer, but they'll save that for trailer 2, baby. They want to build up anticipation, and this doesn't come out till the end of October. So there's Dr. Fate putting on his helmet, which seems red and gold with the reflection in it. But that's a very big helmet. I will have a lot of respect if Pierce Brosnan's actually in the suit, but I suspect he's not. All right, so he puts on his helmet. We'll see him in a moment. Yeah, there he is. Oh, but you don't see a good shot of him. He has got doing this prism thing. He's doing the hand movements. It's very Doctor Strange. But he doesn't have the mystical elements of Doctor Strange to a degree. It's a little bit different. You'll see. He's not going to ever do anything like the multiple arms thing that Doctor Strange does. But I don't know, he looks pretty cool. I gotta say, he looks a lot like Dr. Fate. Him and Atom Smasher are probably the most comics accurate, which is pretty exciting. But then look at this. This is Cyclone. Some of you are wondering why you didn't get to see Cyclone in the trailer, and you do. This is not at all comics accurate, but I like it. I think it's really beautiful. It's like a hummingbird a little bit with the colors, and I just love it's just really cool to look at. I'm like, that's neat. So she's flying down into the fight. Now there's Intergang. So Hawkman is talking about how in this world there are heroes and villains. So they're the heroes and Intergang are the villains. So which side do you want to be on, Black Adam? And he's like, nobody. I pick no team. I'm a free agent. I'm a solo operator with occasional team ups. Thank you very much. But anyway, Intergang is fantastic. It's a little disappointing to see them introduced in someone else's movie instead of a Superman movie because they're Superman villains. I don't think Superman's going to show up here. I'm sure that Dwayne Johnson tried his absolute hardest, especially because, his wife is Henry Cavill's manager. But the Warner Brothers, the management that was in place when this movie was being made really had a hard time with Henry Cavill. So I don't see it happening, which is too bad because that would have sold the movie instantly to have a Superman, Black Adam throwdown. But you might have a Superman tease somewhere, but Hawkman versus Black Adam should be cool. All right, so anyway, Intergang, they're, basically Earth criminals, but they get the gift of technology from an alien, from aliens. So, it puts them a cut above other gangs. But so that'll be interesting to see, and it gives Black Adam someone interesting to hit, all right? Okay, so I think that basically you have a setup here is where he was taken from Kandak, and Intergang is, creating a lot of problems in the country, or being allowed to by whoever's currently controlling Kandak. So I think that's what Black Adam's going to do. He's going to clean up his home, thank you very much. So look, that's actually a fight between Hawkman and Black Adam, because you can see Hawkman up there, and he throws Black Adam down to the ground. I think this looks very pretty, very atmospheric. Oh yeah, Kandaki. You can see it is Kandak. And there's the FedEx location. I wonder how much FedEx and Guess paid for that. That's crazy. This is totally the kind of movie where they would have a Guess store. That's so funny. All right, so anyway, I prefer the local flavor. All right, so... Whoo! Clean up on aisle 4. All right, so look at that. Where is that costume coming from? It doesn't. I guess maybe it has alien technology in it as well. Maybe that's his costume and the Intergang stuff come from the same place. I'd be open to that idea. And again, the problem of, Hollywood does not make a good enough effort to light actors of color. I'm sick of it. It's so disrespectful. The DP on Insecure did a wonderful mini class on Twitter talking about how to light actors of color properly. And the fact that you cannot really see Aldous Hodge here. His back is to the sunlight, but they didn't have to stand that way. I just feel that's inexcusable. That's a cool helmet though. But see, that looks real. That doesn't look like a superhero helmet. That looks like some cool, artifact. I like the helmet a lot. Those ears look like they're gonna hurt. He's like, they're not ears. And I'm like, I know, but it's fun. But so he's like, heroes don't kill. And Black Adam's like, I do. He's like, but not anybody that anyone would feel bad about. Because this is a PG-13 movie. So this is actually the woman, Adriana Tomaz, who is a university professor, because of course she is, but I love it, and a resistance fighter in Kandak. And I believe Black Adam's love interest, because Adriana Tomaz becomes Isis in the comics, his lady love, and she also gets powers. And that's her son, it seems like. But anyway, I think this Intergang guy's causing problems, but not Black Adam doesn't want to hear it. So I don't know why Intergang was like, I'm going to use this stick. And of course, that does not go well. Dwayne Johnson's very funny. He's good at this. But look, I like the way he looks at the stick. I think that's very funny. He's clearly a man out of time, just like Captain America, etc. But I think he's doing a good job with that humor. So I'm enjoying that aspect of the trailer. You see it again a little bit later on. So yeah, he throws that guy into the water, because of course he does. He's fine. Don't worry about it, kids. You should have thrown him into that prison. Just chucked him into the prison up there. All right. That'd be funny. So this fall, we see those mercenaries, and Dr. Fate's like, I had a vision, and you can see that logo. It almost looks like the Black Hawk logo behind him. And he said, I had a vision. You can either be this world's destroyer or its savior. And I'm like, I didn't need to have a vision to know that. That's what you would say to any individual of immense power. You're either a force for good or bad, man. I like this. So he's flying in the air, obviously. And I like the fighter jets. We just saw Top Gun, everybody. And I like that there's a man with fighter jets. And I think they sell that pretty well, actually. Look how he's pretty big here. That's awesome. He's like, that's a substantial man. I love it. And they're like, and I love that they do the sign for, land, go down. I think these are Kandahak fighters. And he just punches the wing. Ah, that's awesome. I love that. I like the finality of Black Adam. He's like, you go down. But look, don't worry, kids. The guy ejected. He's fine. He's like, I kill people sometimes. Come on, leave me alone. All right, so anyway, there he is. And there's Adriana Tomaz and her son. A whole new family ready for Black Adam to step in. So look, doesn't that look like a statue of Black Adam in the background there, missing his arms? And because you can see, I think Kandak has fallen into ruin, and there, it's once greatness. And Black Adam's like, hey, you kept my statue around. I appreciate it. I mean, it's a little worse for wear, but it's the thought that counts. But look, those are those Intergang guys coming in over the water. And look, so you don't even really see Black Adam because it's hard to pick him out with the mountain behind him. But boy, he's really moving fast. I think that's cool, the way he cuts the water. And look, he swings right around and takes out this Intergang guy. That's awesome. He just runs right into him. I love it. I don't think that guy lived. He was a faceless villain, though, so it's okay. Like the same as a robot. And there, I like that his lightning bolt looks the same as the blast. Like it's an inner explosion of power. That's cool. He looks cool there. That's a great hood. And here, I liked this bit actually. So here's Adriana Tomaz and one of the people she's working with. That's a typical look for comedic relief in these comic book movies. I don't mind. I think these characters are fantastic. I'm excited to meet this guy properly. So anyway, they stop short and they're like, who's this? So you can see it through his cape, man. Means he's been through some stuff. Her makeup, by the way, is fantastic, on point. She looks stunning. I like that they roll up their windows. It's like, he's like a predator. They're like, don't look at, it's like when, when a predator comes by your car and you're like, just, act natural. And I like that he's scoping them out. I think this is funny. And there's Intergang. And I like that. It's very nice that guy warns him. They're going to be friends, I'm sure. Again, that cape is pretty sweet. I wonder what the meaning of it is. Is it like from his past? So and I like the way Dwayne Johnson handles this. His reflexes are great. And he's alarmed slightly. He's like, oh, what are you pointing at? And woo! And I like that he catches it. This is one of my favorite shots in the trailer. I love the cape. It looks great with the hood. And I also love, and so this guy's like, did he just catch a rocket? And we're like, yes, he did. And I love that he looks at it. Like, look at the look on his face. I think that's fantastic. It's funny, but yet he still retains the dignity of the character. So I think that's a great moment. I really like that. So he's like, what's this? And then he finds out, it explodes in his face. And so that's an electronics van. You can see that they're using there. Some of you pointed out that the van should have sustained perhaps a little more damage, but whatever. And I think that's his cape. Not the cape. It was so great. It got one too many holes in it. And then he's, his hand goes up on the glass and he's like, hey. Oh, I just noticed that. There's a little electricity in the fingers. That's cool. That's neat. We're getting a lot of lightning people. We got Thor, Storm's hopefully coming soon. Lightning is probably very easy. Flash uses a lot of lightning. Shazam, who of course is in Black Adam's universe. I don't see that really at all, but well, whatever. And then only in theaters, October 21st. And they're not promoting it in IMAX. Oh, yeah, IMAX and Dolby Cinema. The way to see movies these days. So it looks pretty good. As I said, it looks like a middle of the stack comic. And as long as you're not a bottom of the stack comic, you're in good shape. But that's interesting. Not every movie can be a top of the stack comic. That's like, like the Batman and some of the best Marvel movies. That's top of the stack stuff. Marvel puts out a lot of mid-stack stuff too, particularly on Disney Plus. But anyway, so what do you think? What did you think? Share your thoughts. Thanks for going over this with me. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.